It's well thought out and it's well presented. I would make a comment about when you present verbally, because you might be invited to do a presentation to a bank or to an investor. And my suggestion would be you need to practice those things.
Absolutely.
And you should give it, you stood up there, and it's a very nervous-making thing to do. And it's very, very difficult to address a room full of people, and you're under pressure, and you've got to deliver the major messages, the major objectives for your plan. And sometimes you can just suffer from word blindness. Make it easy for yourself. Come in with just the key points you want to talk about, and have it as a crib sheet in front of you, so that it's there.
Had I been standing at the podium, I probably would have. I just didn't have things in front of me at this time. But yeah, I completely understand.
But adapt to whatever environment you get thrown into, because sometimes somebody will just hand you a hand mic and say, "Well, get on with it," and you've got all these notes that you want to talk about. Then you have to do it from memory. So you have to be very, very flexible in your approach to presentation, because it's not just what you write; it's how you are perceived in presenting your ideas. It's how you present yourself verbally as well. And people would be really looking to see what sort of person you are and how passionate you are about your proposal here. Looking at the proposal specifically, I like very much what I hear about social networking and media content. Those, for me, were very, very strong elements in what you had to say. I would quiz you about a couple of things. You talk about the launch, which would be an inability to successfully differentiate from other brands. I'd like to hear more about that. And also related to building brand equity, how you would do that. And then you make a huge assumption here at the end. You talk about if all your organizational objectives are met, then you'll break even in the second year. Convince me of those things.
Okay. Well, in terms of the first part you brought up of, I'm sorry, say it, not the brand equity, but differentiation. We understand that this is a growing, this is an industry that is rather new, and there's been a lot of startup in this specific industry. Not so much the coherent hybridization of social networking and media content, but there are brand new social networking sites that are kind of mixing musical elements, and there are a lot of brand new media content sites. So what we would need to do is establish the MVN TV brand as a new and exciting website that not only competes but provides a different service from the others, building a more personal community where the users not only contribute but feel a sense of ownership with the website. They are viewing content that we're providing, but they're also providing content for other users to see. In essence, getting themselves out there, promoting themselves, and also through marketing efforts, building brand identity through sponsoring live events that will therefore be broadcasted on the website. Minimal merchandising efforts, but geared towards college campuses, building user communities that will volunteer at their regional level.
Do you feel that you articulate that well enough in your proposal?
In that proposal, not yet. It's still, these are ideas that have been discussed amongst the group, and in building a marketing strategy, this is where we're headed to try and build brand equity. Understanding that brand equity is our true asset. That we are nothing if we cannot establish ourselves as an equitable brand amongst the competitors. And this is where advertising comes into play. Using the brand as a negotiation tool in negotiating advertising contracts. And basically being able to charge competitive rates in advertising. And in that sense.
Next we have Baird Caner and Emporium Cafe.
I would like to start a eco-friendly music coffee shop called the Emporium. And the Emporium would supply fair trade coffee, organic and vegan baked goods, and would be built using sustainable and recycled materials, and would have solar panels on the roof that would help feed the overall electrical needs of the coffee shop during the day. Not most excitingly, but excitingly, there would be a small acoustic stage where weekly acoustic shows and open mics would be held. And the open mics would serve to draw in an artistic community, but also would be used to whittle that community down into a group of, ultimately a small group of artists that would then be represented and promoted by the coffee shop. And it would give them a healthy and nurturing place to perform and sell their music, and just give them a community of people to connect with, and hopefully make money and continue their artistic careers. And I think that this idea would work because, for a few reasons. Right now, the environment and its sustainability are very important issues in the lives of Americans and people worldwide, and there's really not, in my opinion, very many healthy businesses that really promote environmentally sound ways of doing business, especially coffee shops. I've worked for Starbucks for 3 years now, and I just feel like there needs to be a change, and I think it could make a lot of money ultimately. And the Emporium would not create a community, because that seems somewhat artificial to me. It would build and collect artists and artistically minded people who like coffee and good food, and bring them all together. And I think that in the long run that works out to profitability.
The plan said you needed $300,000 to get going, and you were going to put in 30. That's an issue right there. Banks look for typically 20 or 30%, so it would be double or triple that. That isn't a negotiable item, but they do look for that. Their feeling is they don't want to be the only ones investing in this business. If this is so great, you put your money into it too. Another question that I had was the projections, how realistic they were for a third quarter break even. Now I have to say I looked at these fast. I didn't get these until yesterday, so I was reading all of this yesterday. But did I read that correct? Are you expecting a break even in the third quarter?
Yeah, we were working off of figures that I had to come up with between Starbucks, the store that I actually work for. My boss allowed me to sit down with them and actually look at some monthly figures. So I think that the break-even point might be skewed for that reason, and I'm just sort of an ambitious human by nature. So
yeah, that's not uncommon.
Yeah. So
that's not uncommon.
But yeah, I think I also want to be as safe as possible with it. So I think a lot of the group members can attest that I like to lowball things and really say, well, okay, what's the worst that could happen? And I don't think that a quarter 3 break-even point is that, but that's what's made it into the plan so far.